Hi, I'm Naisha McCauley, and you're watching AccessTV.org.
Hi, my name is Chrissy Clements. Everyone watches AccessTV.org.
Yes, this is Jonathan Small, host and producer of All About You, broadcasting November 26th, live from AccessTV.org studios in downtown Hartford. This program is designed to give the guests a chance to give their life story from the beginning towards where their life is at today. Today I have a very special guest. This person is considered an icon in the Connecticut boxing world. He was recently just inducted in the Connecticut Boxing Hall of Fame. He runs as the executive director of the San Juan Center Sports here in Hartford. No wonder than George Cruz. Good morning, George Cruz. How you doing?
Good morning, John.
Okay.
Glad to be here. Pleasure.
Okay. George Cruz, could you kind of give the people out here in the community and throughout the internet airways how your life and where your life has gotten started at?
Well, I mean, if you want to go right to the beginning, my family came to Hartford, Connecticut in 1949. My mother, we came without a father, and my mother, worked a few jobs to keep us straight and keep us, food on the table, and so we came up the hard way.
Okay.
Through the projects and so forth, and I used to fight a lot in the projects, and I used to sing also.
Okay.
I'm proud about that also, but I used to fight a lot, so I did a little boxing, and I did pretty good, and through the years I ventured in different businesses, and I ended up with a couple of muffler shops, and a fellow by the name of Ray Agar came by one day, and we were talking, and he says, geez, he says, I box, and I need help, if somebody could help me, blah, blah, blah. So I started helping Ray. I brought him down to Johnny Dukes, who was a friend of mine. And then he wanted me to train him, so I started training him, and that's how I got back into boxing.
Okay.
And then from there, I've trained probably over 300 different fighters. I've had 3 world champions and numerous other champions.
Okay.
USBA and NABF and blah, blah, the Campbell Soup champions. But I've been very fortunate. I've been blessed in a lot of different ways. And then I had an experience where a young man got shot, and I decided that I wanted to work with kids to try to help some other kids for what happened to him.
Okay.
And that pushed me into the position that I'm in now, the executive director of San Juan Center Sports. I'm the founder, and we have a tremendous boxing program, and we have after-school programs for the kids. We are funded by the state of Connecticut, some city funding and private funding. And we're always looking for donations and, people to help us, because everything is tight today, So, hello out there, anybody who wants to help me with my kids, we'll give you an address so that you can send some money.
Okay, I understand. Excuse me, George, what was your life growing up as a child towards a teenager? Was you involved in any boxing activities on your own?
Yeah, I boxed as an amateur. I was a pretty good fighter. I didn't want to take it any further than that. I was involved in music.
Okay.
So that was, like my first love, and through the years, I've always, of course, have taken interest in the sport, and I watch on TV and I say, gee, this guy's doing this wrong, this guy's doing that wrong. What kind of trainers they got aren't telling them what's it. And then one day, like I said, this kid shows up, and I end up training. I'm back in boxing, and I've traveled all over the world, not the country, the world.
Okay.
I mean, I've been to South Africa, I've been to Australia, Germany, maybe France, name it, I've been there.
You've been there.
Yeah. And that was all through fights, bringing fighters to fight for titles and so forth. And that was my, I was very, very active in those days,
Okay.
I could have been probably one of the great trainers of all times. I could have done that, but I would have had to move, and I had young daughters coming up, and I didn't want to leave my family. See, if I was single, I could have gone to Las Vegas and trained a few guys who were champions out there. I had offers to go train Frazier's son, Marvis Frazier, Burt Cooper,
Okay.
and I mean numerous, Johnny Tapia, who was also from New Mexico. But that meant I would have to leave my house for 2-3 months before a fight. And I can't leave my family, my young girls, I'm not going to do that. So I chose not to do that. And so I stayed in the local level, and I accomplished a lot on the local level, but I could have been, if I wanted to make that big sacrifice. And that's a huge sacrificing your family.
Yes.
Yeah, I want to do that.
So you kind of decided that you didn't want to go towards the next level because of the sacrifice you would have had to make.
I had already reached that level, though.
Okay, you did.
I had already trained world champions. I had been on ABC Sports, and yes, but I mean, I've been there, done that. The thing is that I could have, if I had done a lot more of that, then I would have, of course, been qualified for the National Boxing Hall of Fame, and that's the big one. And I would, I would have liked to have been considered for that, even on my achievements. But, like I say, you got to have a lot more visibility, and visibility brings popularity. Popularity brings votes.
Yes.
See, that's the way that went.
So you was actually in a position to be, I guess many people out here in the boxing world consider Angelo Dundee one of the greatest trainers of all time. And you felt you would have had that same kind of ability to be right up there with Angelo Dundee?
I had that ability.
Okay.
I had that ability, but he had in other words, like Muhammad Ali was in Florida, and he was in Florida. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
So he didn't have to travel or nothing. He was right there. Sugar Ray Leonard went to train with Angelo Dundee after he saw what Muhammad Ali did with him, so he moved to Florida to train with him.
Okay.
Say, nobody, like I said, I did the local
scene.
The state scene. And I trained fighters all over the state.
Okay.
From all over the state.
And you don't have any regrets by not taking that journey to go out to Las Vegas? You still feel content that you did the right thing?
Yes, I do. Some things you gotta prioritize, and you can't. My daughter's lives are more important,
Okay.
Them having a dad there and somebody to support them and be there with them and so forth, I know because I grew up without a dad.
Okay.
So that I was kind of knew how important a dad would be,
You feel like the San Juan Center the San Juan Center of Sports is a great asset towards the greater Hartford community, towards helping and shaping lives?
Well, let me put it to you this way here. I founded the center in 1991, and since then we've had kids that were in gangs, graduated from high school, going to college. Some of them graduated from high school, went into the police department. They're still in the police department today.
Okay.
Some are in the fire department today. That would have never happened if we weren't there. And that's only saying a few. That's only a few. And there's stories galore that I can tell you that are very, very sad. But at the end they're fruitful.
Okay.
I've seen kids that were getting F's in school, and because they couldn't get in the house in the evening to go to sleep, their mothers were in there prostituting to make money for their dope habits. Okay. And the kid would have to sleep out in the hallway till 4 or 5 or 6 o'clock in the morning, and then he'd try to get up to go to school. It's almost impossible. Then when he does go to school, he falls asleep. So of course he was getting F's, and you got to get a seat to be in our programs.
Okay.
And finally I got it out of him. He came back 2-3 times, and finally I got it out of him. And cause I told him, I said, if you're gonna box, you got to be truthful with your coach, because it has a lot to do with the fights.
Yes.
And I got to depend on you. You got to depend on me. And so he told me the story. I went over and talked to his mother, and I told her that I was gonna, get the authorities on her, this and that and so forth.
Mm-hmm.
If she didn't go for help, it could, you're killing your own son, blah blah blah. And finally, it worked, And today, he graduated from high school. He went in the armed forces,
Mm-hmm.
and he's got a family today, and he's successful.
Okay.
But I'm just saying that's only, there's so many different stories,
Mm-hmm.
so many success stories out of there. And it's only because boxing was the lure. You
Yeah.
want to catch a fish, you got to have a lure, And so we catch the fishes, we get them in the center, and, we teach them that our favorite saying is, quitter always, a loser never wins and a winner never quits.
Right.
So if they want to quit when they're in the ring, we don't let them quit, because then we tell them, say, if you quit here, you're going to quit on life, you're going to quit on school, you're going to quit on, and you're a quitter, so don't quit,
Mm-hmm.
and I make them fight, and after they're done, I say, I didn't quit, coach, I didn't quit, I'm not a quitter.
Okay.
And that's a big thing,
Well, I'm glad one thing you didn't mention is that for the kids to be involved in the San Juan Center sports, they have to have a C grade average. So that's telling me that education is still very important in how you're planning to run your center.
Right, we have a counselor there, his name is John Wilson,
Mm-hmm.
and John's been in sports, and he's run different projects throughout Hartford.
Mhm.
Clay Arsenal was one of the big ones he ran, and John was a tremendous athlete, and I have John working there with the kids
Mm-hmm.
as a counselor, and if they need help, with their grades or so forth, John helps them with that.
Mm-hmm.
He gets them the help that they need for the school system and through different organizations.
Well, what's some of the challenges that you feel the San Juan Center sports needs today to really keep it flourishing going into the next decade or this decade and beyond?
Money.
Oh, okay, funds.
Funds, money.
Okay.
Because you can't do anything without money.
Mm-hmm.
You have to pay people, you have to pay for books, you have to pay insurance, you got to pay it's everybody. I don't know of one organization that isn't really hurting, but today people talk a good game
Mm-hmm.
about, we got to help the kids. We got to help the kids. That's what they say, but they never do.
Mm-hmm.
We need people to put their money where their mouth is. You want to help the kids. These are kids that are at-risk kids. These are hardcore kids that we work with every day.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of times my staff doesn't get the recognition and the credit that they deserve.
Mm-hmm.
Because we don't really pat ourselves on the back. We go in there and we work.
Yes. Do you see some of the people in the boxing world that's been very successful, and people in the sponsorship world looking at the San Juan Center sports as something that they need to invest in?
Everybody has their own agenda.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of the people that you think have a lot of money don't have a lot of money. They have a lot of name, but they
Okay.
don't have a lot of money.
Mm-hmm.
Or money that they want to spend in that direction.
Okay.
Even though, see, let me say this to you. You get a fighter, you get a boxer who becomes a world champion.
Mm-hmm.
Now, that boxer grew up, in a minority atmosphere. Let me put it in the projects or so forth. No one ever told him about finances. No one ever taught him about budgeting.
Mm-hmm.
And then all of a sudden, here they are getting all this money.
Okay.
They end up throwing it away. People end up robbing them without them knowing it. Before you know it, they got nothing. The money that they made, they owe the internal revenue. They got nothing left.
Mm-hmm.
They got the name, but that's it.
And then, yes.
Yeah.
Well, in your role as an everyday executive director in the San Juan Center of Sports, you claim that you have a good support systems working with you. Do you see anybody that you could be grooming to take over when you plan to retire, or is retirement not in the picture anytime soon?
Well, I would say in the next couple of years, yes, and I do see a few people,
Okay.
a few young people. I mean, but see, to have this job, you got to have the desire, the heart, the care, the interest. You got to love it. You got to love seeing smiles on people's faces that otherwise wouldn't have them.
Mm-hmm.
I feel great when somebody comes to me and says, "Geez, Mr. Cruz, I lost my job. It's going to be a hard Christmas for me. I could sure use some help." And, then I turn around, pick up the phone, and, get as much help for her as I can, and then I made their Christmas,
Okay.
I made some kids happy, and I made a woman happy, and that's what my job is about. It's about helping people and saving some lives whenever we can.
Well, George Cruz, is your job as executive director of San Juan Center Sports a long, grueling job or easy job? Is it a lot of stress that comes along with this particular job that many people don't know what you have to go through?
Well, yes, because sometimes the bills got to be paid and there's no money there,
Okay.
And then I got to go around, just crying to this one, that one, that one, and trying to, something just to keep the doors open so the kids aren't shut out.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a tough job, raising money to keep it in operation is not a easy job.
Mm-hmm. So the job has kind of changed over the years since it first got started in 1991.
Yeah, because then there was more money around.
Mm-hmm.
Then we were getting money from Hartford Housing Authority. John Warlow was alive,
Mm-hmm.
and there was what they called drug elimination money. To give the kids something, and that's so they don't get involved in drugs and so forth. And we had a big grant of $250,000, and we also helped fund and watched over. Actually collaborated with 2 other gyms, and we also were getting money from the state and the city.
Okay.
So we were doing good. We had a lot of programs. We had girls' beauty pageants. We had music programs, and on. But we had the money to do it.
Okay.
Today, the money only stretches to boxing and karate and a counselor.
Is your building structurally intact? Or do you need a
Yes.
bigger building, or your building is all in order?
No, our building is all in order. We try to run boxing shows when the weather permits it, and raise a few thousand here and there. Every little bit helps out, so that comes in handy.
What was the feeling like when you got the call or the announcement that you was going to be inducted in the Connecticut Boxing Hall of Fame?
Well, it's a funny thing because I never really even thought about it that much.
Mm-hmm.
And but my grandson one day, who's 5 years old, says, "Papa, have you ever been on TV? Are you famous?"
Okay.
And I didn't answer the question. My wife says, "Yeah, your papa's been all over the world. He's been on TV and so forth." And so right after that, I was on a Sunday. I went to visit him. And then Monday, I get a phone call. Will I accept a nomination into the? So I said, well, you know what? This is a good thing for my grandson.
Okay.
So I says, yeah, I will. And so now, when he sees the videos and he gets older, and he'll know his papa did something with boxing too.
Your legacy, is it really just about running the executive director role at the San Juan Center Sports, or are you involved in anything outside of the San Juan Center that you like to tell people?
Well, let me say this, right? I wore a few different hats in my lifetime.
Okay.
As a kid growing up in the projects, I fought and I sang.
Mm-hmm.
We used to have singing groups.
Okay.
We used to go into the cellar where there was an echo chamber. It was an effect. And we used to harmonize, and we used to do, it was doo-wop, we call it doo-wop.
Doo-wop, all right.
And through the years, I've sang at the Apollo Theater and won first prize
Okay.
at the Apollo Theater, the Roseland Ballroom, Radio City Music Hall, the Bushnell. I've appeared at Foxwoods in the theater there 6 times.
Okay.
So, and plus, we're always all around the state and Massachusetts.
Mm-hmm.
We've done numerous amounts of shows. We do festivals and so forth. We're in demand in music, so
Okay.
we've done something on Access TV before, just about my music.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, I'm very proud about that also.
So
We have CDs,
CDs, yes.
yeah, and that we put out. And if you want to hear our music, I think that you can download it on accesstv.org, the
Okay.
station.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Singing, is that another passion that you plan to pursue after you retire, or if you retire anytime soon?
Well, listen, I'm 69 years old.
Okay. All right.
I don't know how much longer I'm going to be active.
Okay.
You know, in music and also in boxing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, maybe a couple more years. I don't know.
Okay. Some of the social challenges, because the San Juan Center Sports is located in a very impoverished, rough area of the city of Hartford. Many people are not aware of that. What is some of the biggest issues now that you see outside of the building that the kids have to go through on a day-to-day basis?
Well, they got pressure of being in gangs.
Okay.
They get pressured into being in gangs, and that's a tough one because sometimes they have to fight, but if they fight, then they may turn around and have to worry about getting shot.
Right.
So there's a lot of pressure out there on those kids, just with the gangs.
Do you see the situation getting better? I mean, many people might not be aware of what, our urban centers are like. A report just came out today that crime in Hartford has actually dropped the lowest since 2004. Do you feel that the community is really moving in the right direction?
You know, you can say the crime is dropping, but you can say major crimes are dropping.
Yes.
You don't hear about the people that are getting beat up and robbed. You don't hear about the cars that are being broken into. I had somebody break into my car, and I called the police. They told me to call the insurance company.
Okay.
That never gets logged down as a crime.
Crime, right.
You see what I'm saying? So that's stuff that's not as a crime. People come into Hartford, the same thing happens to them. They don't come back. You go into Hartford downtown after 6 o'clock, it's like a ghost town. I mean, they put up a grocery store there downtown, and when they first put it up, I go, that won't last 3 months. I was wrong; it lasted 4 months.
4 months, okay.
You know, so I'm just saying that what you hear is not necessarily true.
Okay.
It's not true. I don't think that. I don't think that a good job is being done. Let me put it that way.
Okay. Well, there's a lot of development in the downtown area, and I was always told a long time ago in our urban areas here, Hartford got a lot of recreational and other resources that probably you don't have today. Would you see something towards advocating that you see more recreation, more businesses, more development beyond just what you have with the San Juan Center?
Well, you know what's happening in Hartford is this: downtown Hartford is being developed, and the communities are being shot.
Okay.
You know, and there's nothing going on in the communities as far as construction, as far as new youth centers. First of all, for kids in Hartford, what is there for the kids in Hartford? Okay, there are no bowling alleys. There are no pool halls. You know, there's maybe one theater. It's just there's nothing for families and kids to do. You know, I mean, there's my center,
Yes.
and there's not that many. So what are kids gonna do? They got nothing to do. No places to go.
Okay.
You know, I mean, it's Hartford used to be big for families, not families anymore. There's nothing for families to occupy their time.
Well, George, you meet a lot of people, I guess, in the boxing world, in the political world, in other circles. Do you try to advocate that you feel you need more resources and more attention in the neighborhoods where your center is located at?
I always, but I'm like I don't know, I gotta say that. I'm like the bad guy, the vigilante,
Okay.
I try to, and funny part about it is everybody comes to me for help. And I help everybody, and I'm talking about politicians too.
Okay.
But once they get into office, they forget where they came from. It's crazy. It really is.
And would you say the San Juan Center is one resource that keeps you from forgetting where you come from?
I'll never forget from where I came from.
Okay.
You know, and I don't ever want to forget where I came from.
Mm-hmm.
Because the day that I do that, I'm not a man.
Okay.
That's the way I feel about it.
So you think it's really important that people realize that if you become successful in any venture of life, particularly if you're from an area that didn't have the type of opportunities, that you should never forget where you come from and don't plan not to look back. I mean, that's really important.
Let me give you an example, John. I went to a meeting one time, and the meeting was about building better relationships with the police department, the community and the police department. And when I went there was this guy who came from a rich background, from a rich area,
Yes.
and he was running the meeting. What do you think about, your opinion? Well, I think that there needs to be more respect. Or respect, that's a good word. He writes down respect on the board.
Okay.
And he's going down, he's asking everybody, right?
Mm-hmm.
So he comes to me and he asked me, what is your opinion? I go, my opinion is you shouldn't be running this meeting.
Okay.
And he says, why should I be running this meeting? Have you ever walked around with holes in your shoes with a piece of cardboard inside so that you wouldn't cut your feet? Did you ever wake up in the morning hungry? You know, did you ever go to bed hungry?
Mm-hmm.
Did you ever have to take your shirt off and tie it around your waist so people wouldn't see the rip in your pants?
Oh boy.
No. Well, how can you be running a meeting like this when you got to walk the walk to be able to talk the talk?
Talk the talk, yes.
You know, I says, as far as I'm concerned, this meeting with you was over. I got up and I left.
Mm-hmm.
Because here's a guy who knows nothing about what's going on, and he's going to run things.
Mm-hmm.
And that's basically what goes on, all over.
Yes.
People that aren't supposed to be running things are the ones that are running things. People who haven't experienced the good and the bad, are the ones that are calling the shots.
Okay.
It's not a good scene. So, I don't forget, and I don't want to forget where I came from, because if I do forget where I came from, I'm not going to be able to help people.
Mm-hmm.
Because in order to understand their problems, I have to have been there.
Been there, yes.
And done that. Then I can understand deeply and understand where they're coming from.
Mm-hmm.
Put it that way.
Well, George Cruz, we seem to be able to cover a lot today, and I really appreciate you opening up your life story about what you're doing on a day-to-day basis towards the people out here. Is there any last thing that you want to leave to the people out there about your life and, what your life has been all about?
Well, I was very ill in 2003.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody thought I was going to make it. I was in a coma for over a month.
Okay.
And I made it because I'm a fighter.
All right.
And I always believe that if you fight till you can't fight no more, that's all you can do.
Mm-hmm.
And if you do that, you're a winner.
Okay. Well, I wish you the best of luck and best of health. It seems like to me you have a lot still to offer to people out here, not just in boxing, but I think in life in general. And I think many people don't realize how important it is to give back and have a resource that's helping lives, not just in making money, but in shaping their lives in so many different areas. And I think the San Juan Center Sports is a tremendous jewel that we have here in Hartford, Connecticut. And I love the fact that you are from the same town, Hartford, that I'm from, so we can kind of have that little common trend to promote. And I think you are really been a tremendous asset, probably that many people don't even realize or that we take, for granted. Sometimes we have a tendency of having successful people here and we see them every day and we don't appreciate pretty much what their life has been all about. So I really appreciate you giving up your time this morning to be a guest here at accesstv.org studios. And in the future, I love to look forward to come down to the San Juan Center and really see what that center has been all about. And it's a special congratulations for you being inducted in the Connecticut Boxing Hall of Fame. That's a tremendous honor that you have been able to accomplish. So,
Thank you very much, John.
Yes.
Pleasure being here.
okay. Again, this is Jonathan Small, the host and producer of All About You. I enjoyed doing this program today. I'd like to thank my executive producer for putting everything together. There's so many issues and so many life stories that I would love for my listeners out there to see. And I think All About You is just a program that's giving the guests a chance to have their life stories put throughout the internet airwaves. Again, this is Jonathan Small, host and producer of All About You. Until next week, I wish everybody out there a very blessed day. Thank you.